Everybody, welcome back. My name is Yumble, and lately I've been getting a lot of questions regarding intersection marking tool, so I figured I'd take this time today to build a bunch of popular junctions and use intersection marking tool to create some road markings and show you some practical application as well as some techniques to make good-looking markings in city skylines. Sit back, relax, enjoy the markings. This is what I would call a fairly typical roundabout setup in city skylines. I've got a 4-lane road attached on all sides, going into a 3-lane roundabout, kind of a turbo variant using the turbo roundabout roads from the Steam Workshop. The 4-lane road is the Ultimate American Roads Pack 4-lane no parking road. But the first thing I recommend doing when you're approaching marking an intersection would be to see how the traffic is going to move from lane to lane and make those decisions first. So on this one, the way I'm going to set it up is the first lane is for exiting traffic, the second lane is for the next exit over here, this lane is for turning left traffic from this direction, and these, I'm going to do a dedicated left turning lane, and then because I'm only doing 2 lanes going into a 3-lane roundabout, I'm going to combine the straight through traffic and the right turning traffic. So as long as this happens on all sides, the left turning traffic has its own lane to go all the way around and leave. The middle lane and outer lane will be served by the right road. So it'll either net them an immediate exit, or it'll take them straight across. They'll change lanes here and up this way. So now that I know this, I'm informed enough to start marking it up. So we're going to be doing 2 lanes, 2 right turn lanes here, of course. It's a roundabout, they're all turning right. So I'm going to do we'll start with a solid line there, and I'll see if that stays. You can hold shift to do solid lines with intersection marking tool. And we're not going to be able to see this one, but I'll throw a line in there just in case we need it later. I know that this lane is going to be moving over by 1, so we'll make that happen there. I know that this is going to be moving over by 1, and I know that the far right lane, or the outer lane, is going to be exiting, and they can exit to whichever lane they want. That is totally fine. I'm going to do one more invisible line, so you can't actually see that one, but that's okay. So this is the kind of the root of the whole thing. You're going to see this repeated today, where all of the lines will be drawn initially, and then all of the lines will be cut or segmented in the ways that they need to. So starting at the top, I'm just going to scroll down. I'm hovering my mouse in the top left here, looking for the first one that needs to be cut. So this one, I want to select the line. I know it needs to be cut on the right side here because we have to let traffic in. So a solid line is not the way to go. So I'm going to hover until I find that right edge point from the from and to boxes here. So we're going to go to here, and that'll make this nice little island. You'll see that becoming more complete as we go. So moving on down to the next line, this one needs to be trimmed here. And also, I'm going to add back a line up here. So we're going to do add rule, holding shift to make it solid, because this is going to have a little turbo roundabout fin up top. Love that. That one doesn't need to be trimmed. This one does. So this one, I'm going to bring it back from the upper line down to here. And now I want to trim these last 2. So let's take the right side and we'll bring it back. And the bottom one, we'll take the right side by hovering and bring it back as well. So now this is most of it, but I do think I'd like to add dotted lines to show the movements of traffic here, just to make it abundantly clear what's going on. So perhaps hovering, I'll find this one, and we'll add a rule that shows this dotted line coming up there. I think that works really well. And what else? Oh, some fillers. If you hold Alt when you're in intersection marking tool and you've clicked an intersection, it'll bring up these red dots. I'd recommend drawing the lines first, otherwise they won't appear. But we're going to make a filler. This one could be a couple different things. For our purposes here, I'm actually going to make it pavement. It doesn't match the network as well as I'd like, so scratch that. We're going to go solid for this one. And I might even opt to make it yellow. We'll see what happens. Let's see how it looks against this one up here. So this fin is also going to become a filler. So as I said before, hold Alt to bring up the filler points. after drawing all your lines, of course. And then add a solid filler there. That looks pretty good. One thing that I might change about this design would be making the lines around the outside of this one yellow, because this happens to be a US road with yellow markings on the median, which is... it could happen, it's plausible enough. I might make the exterior lines yellow. And of course, all you have to do from here is copy markings, and then go around to each of the other ones and hit the paste button. Sometimes you'll have to rotate it, sometimes you won't. That time it came out oriented well. So I'm going to hit check. And there you have it, up and running. The one thing I forgot to mention is that you can actually draw stop lines or yield lines. In this case, they look like shark teeth going across the road, entering the intersection, just by drawing a line across that part of the road. Here is an example of a partial cloverleaf. Now this one is going to allow us to show off a few different ways to use intersection marking tool, including the way that a highway split looks and a highway merge. So before we do the complex intersections of the actual partial cloverleaf, I just want to show you, by holding shift, you will get straight lines, or rather you'll get non-dashed lines, solid lines, as it were. So I can do some solid lines, and then a dashed line as a continuation of the already existing line, and then another solid line. The final trick on this, the two final tricks actually, one is to make a filler of chevrons. So the way that you make chevrons is by Alt-click on the best way to explain this, I think, actually, is to say, click on the point of the chevrons second in this configuration. So ready, there's 3 points. I'm going to click this one second, and that will point the chevrons in the correct direction when I go to do this. So style, chevron, and invert. This is the correct chevron direction for a split, which is what we're doing here. On the other side, it may be a merge, but this one is a split, and that is the way it looks. One more thing to note on this one is that some of the lines are not exactly lined up with the vanilla highway. The solution to this is actually to hold Control and then click any of the points, and you can move them, any of the origins. You can move them around. That's not too bad. For this one, another trick is copy markings and then paste the markings in. On this one, we're going to have to inverse order. So we're going to mirror image it once and then turn it until it makes sense. Bingo. That is mostly perfect, except now the filler is going the wrong way. So the chevron, we're going to invert that for a merge. So you can see the difference. This is what the split looks like versus what a merge looks like. Little different in appearance. The other highway-specific type area that we can mark are these little splits over here. So I'm just going to use I'm just going to shift-click on each of these to make a solid line, and I'm going to connect this here. One more thing you can do to this type of situation, actually, is to connect the crossing points here, and then reduce the crossing points back to where the chevron would start. So I'm going to take this end and move it back to here. I'm going to take the green end at the bottom and move it back to here as well. And with Node Controller, we can balance this out. I'm just going to click Make Ends Straight with Node Controller, and that's actually exactly what I wanted. And if we wanted to define that split a little bit better, it wouldn't be the end of the world to... oops. It's funny, I get Traffic Manager's lane connector confused with this all the time. But if we wanted to make a chevron here, now that we've moved it with Node Controller, it's going to look real nice. Invert, and there's another split. All I would have to do is copy this marking to other areas. Excuse me, I could copy it to here if we wanted, and that would work great. But now let's concentrate on the more complex ends of the parklow. As I said before, the best thing to do when dealing with a more complex junction is to consider where traffic is going before placing your markings. So I've established that we've got a right turn going onto the highway. We've also got a left turn from the opposite direction going onto the highway. We've got a free-flowing right turn coming off the highway, through traffic, and another one coming off the highway. It's going to be the same on both sides, so I should be able to mark it up accordingly. Let's see if I can pull this off. This traffic is going to be always turning this way, So I'll just mark that. So holding shift right off the bat will do that. Oh, another good thing to do in this situation is to create stop lines where necessary. I know that that's going to be a stop line there, and that's fine. This one may need to... Let's assume this one's a yield, perhaps. I'm not sure yet, but we'll put a line there just to just to show it symbolically. I know that this is going to be through traffic, so we can mark that off. And I'm just going to do solid lines for most of this. This one is going to be crossing into the left lane, but we can make it look like it's going continuous by making a solid line there, so that's pretty good. And this one will be merging into the right lane. That's pretty good. I know this is going to end up being some sort of chevron situation, so that's fine. That right turn needs to happen. Not too bad. I think that's most of it except for the left turn. The left turn is the one point of conflict on this whole intersection is this left turn. But that's okay. Someone's going to yield or somebody's going to get hit with a light. One way or the other, it's all going to work out. So I think that is probably the majority of the markings. Let's set out and trim these down a bit so that we can get traffic through it. There we go. So all of the lines have been cut down to size and rules have been added. If there's a second line that needs to happen, like for instance, on this one here, there happens to be two different segments. So one segment is on the left side and then the other segment is on the right side. And you can do that by hitting add rule anytime one connection needs two different segments on it. In the case where maybe you want one to be dashed and the other to not be dashed, or maybe you want to have an empty space in the middle like I do here, that's just adding a rule after changing the end point of one of them. And that's great. I've also opted for a merge chevron on this side and a set of kind of solid markings on this side. Maybe these would be kind of pavement islands or something like that to stop traffic from trying to go straight through. But the one thing I haven't really gone over yet is adding stripes to an area. So check this out. This center area, which I've turned yellow or amber, I've actually forgotten. No, this is fine. It'll work out. So I'm going to hit Alt and start drawing in our filler. And this is correct. I want this to be stripes, and I want them to denote the passing of traffic. I want them to denote traffic crossing one another, because that's kind of what's happening here. At least in this area, that's what's happening. This marking isn't really going to help the left turning people so much, but that's okay. And maybe I also want to make that yellow, so I'm going to paste in my amber color, which happens to be 255, 190, 0 for this situation. And we can control the offset from median if we want to. If we want to keep it away from that center area, just to keep it clean looking, that would be fine. Can I strike a balance? We'll put it right to there and call that good enough, I suppose. And I'm going to do something similar on the other side now. So once again, Alt, click the relevant points, take the slashes and angle them. This just denotes traffic crossing one another. So the traffic will always have the lines angled the same direction, depending on which side of the road you're on. But it should look the same. On one side, it'll be on your left side, or actually on both sides in this case. Drivers could look left and see that they're in the correct lane. I'm going to paste in our color, and I'm going to change the offset from median, just so it's not on the pavement there. That's pretty cool. And I actually like that a lot. I'm going to copy this to the other side and show you what the whole thing looks like. Here we have a single point urban interchange. This is a popular one in North America for doing kind of a smaller, briefer intersection rather than a Cloverleaf or a stack or something like that. This is a good service interchange. Some special appearances from things we already know about, including highway connections, that kind of thing, splits and merges. A split there, a merge there. I threw a yield on that side just to make it clear what's going on here. Also, on the ends, I've already marked these up as expected. So lane math, 3 lanes goes down to 2 when you lose a lane. 2 lanes go up to 3. That's great. And I added chevrons. And this road network actually has a built-in median. So you do still have to use Traffic Manager to refine the connections there. But the median is continuous on this one. So all of that is gravy. That's all wonderful. But today, or at this moment, we're going to focus on this center area. I've already marked up all the outer areas with techniques that we've already gone over. The center area is where all of the left-hand turns take place, as well as the east-west through traffic of the arterial. So I'd like to start by showing you, as I have, here are the movements that need to take place. Left, 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 and then 2 straight throughs. The lane math will change as you alter these roads, but for now I'm just going to keep it very simple. But let's dig in and do it. I'm going to start by marking all of our lefts with solid lines. I still think the best way to do this is always to start by marking all of, putting in every line that you're going to need, and then reducing them later. So start by adding everything to get all your points squared away, and then reduce them all down at a later time. So far, so good. I don't know if that's all of them, but that's definitely most of them. I can't think of anything else that needs to happen. Oh, let's do stop bars as well. So not crosswalks per se here, but I'm going to do stop bars on the incoming areas. This left gets one as well. So does this one. I've used a bit of node controller on this to clean it up. I think it was a bit tighter before, but it's okay. As long as these lefts can go at the same time, that is totally fine. But let's go through and start shortening these. I'll show you the whole thing of this one. We'll do it all in real time. So I've taken that line. I've started with the first line that needs shortening or needs changing, that kind of thing. And I'm going to shorten it by changing the from and to. And I already have. Took the right side and moved it to here. Now I'm going to add rule. Boom. Straight line by holding shift. I'm going to add another rule over here. Which reminds me, I'm going to want these as well. I'm not sure exactly how all of these markings. I suppose this isn't really a split or a merge. It's just a left coming in at a weird angle, but that's okay. I am going to want these eventually, so I'll add those in. But anyway, as we were, let's go down the line. This one is a bit more complex. Let's start at the top. I found it's best to do this very systematically, if possible. So just go down the list and just make it happen. So I'm going to shorten this one to here, and I'm going to add a rule that crosses here. That should be fine. With some adjustment, it may require an additional one in the middle, but I don't think so. Not for me, not today, thanks. Cool. So now we go to the left. This first left turn. I'm going to take that purple one on the left and move it all the way back to here. And I'm going to add rules going the whole way up, only in spots where there aren't lanes. If I don't get this right on the first try, please forgive me, but I think it's going to work out. I think we'll be okay. Cool. All right, and then the next one, the left next to it. Let's see if we can't do the same thing. So I'm going to take this left orange spot, bring it down to here. I'm going to add a rule there, and we'll add one more rule there. Nice. Simplified it a little bit, but let's keep going. So starting with the blue side on the right, I'm going to take the blue side, and I'm going to bring it back down to here. And I'm going to add a rule. Ooh. Oh, goodness. I'm going to start on this side, and then go to this one, and hope for the best. I might have botched that. So sometimes when things get complex, when the going gets tough, it'll give you two different options if there's two different points in the middle. Let's see. Which one do I want? I want this one on the left, I believe. And I want it to go to there. Yep, that looks better. So it's okay to redo stuff. You just have to do it again. Oh, or even it's entirely wrong. So forget what I just did. Delete that and try again. This is what we actually need. That's fine. It'll all work out. And one last rule to get us back to the median. Beautiful. I would say this is far and away the most complex one. And I would be amazed if I got it perfectly right on the first try. So bear with, as this is how it is. Repeating the same process. Add rule. There's going to be a funny little diamond in the middle, I'm realizing. I don't know if I want that, but we'll see what it all looks like by the end. Now this one, what I want to do here is keep the ends and the middle, but get rid of the pieces that cross these roads. So we're going to take the red side and bring it back. Add a rule here. And add a rule here. Beautiful. And down the way. Let's take the purple side and bring it in. Get it out of the way of all this craziness. And for this one, I'm just going to add a rule on the right side. I'm not even going to mess with the middle because that's going to be where all the movements are taking place anyway. I don't think we're going to need much marking there. One could also argue that this is very much overkill for what this actually needs. But when you have a mod that's powerful like this, it's kind of more fun to use it. It's more fun to overuse it than it is to underuse it. And if this isn't about fun, then I don't know what it's about at the end of the day. All right, so let's take the orange one and we'll bring it up here. Add a rule, not there, right here. And add one more rule to finish it off to the median. Great, we're almost done with all the lefts. We're almost done with the whole thing even. So this one, we'll take the red one and we'll bring it in up here. Add a rule here. And we'll finish it off like that. And there should be one left. That one right there. We just got to cut out the pieces that are in the way. I don't know about this funny little diamond in the middle. We'll see if that actually makes the cut. We'll see if that's a real thing. All right, we'll cut it there. Add rule there. Add rule for the funny diamond. We love that guy. He's just doing his thing. Excellent. That is looking real complete. I'm going to add in some chevrons and maybe see how the fillers look, and I'll get back to you once I know what the heck is going on. And there you have it, a completed center node for our single point interchange. This is certainly well above and beyond what a real single point urban interchange requires, but I figured I'd go all out and show as many useful features of intersection marking tool as I could. Of course, these apply all over the place to all kinds of different intersections. You do not have to go this crazy. Of course, I opted to keep the little yellow island in the middle, because technically no cars are going to drive there, so I thought that was kind of funny. I grew attached to it. But things to note is that the dashed line is to denote the left turn from all sides. So all of the lefts have a dashed line moving them along into their desired lane. I did yellow for the middle to match the road. I just did fillers for these. No traffic will end up driving in these spaces. I think that came out great, though. Heavy-handed as it is, I think it looks nice. But everyone, thank you so much for letting me talk about intersection marking tool. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned something. Of course, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I try to make 1 to 2 YouTube videos a week, so I'll certainly... you'll see me again on here, I promise. I also stream twice a week on Twitch, and we also have a community Discord, so feel free to join the Discord if you want some further discussion, or if you have questions, or if you're looking for traffic help, or you want to share your city. All those are valid. But that's all I've got for today. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out. I've been Yumble. I'll see you in the next stream or the next video.